Good afternoon. It's time for the Iman Report. It's time to recap NFL Week 3. It is Tuesday, September 28th. Hope everybody's having a good day today. We're going to start off with recapping NFL Week 3. Still getting my voice back from the 49ers game on Sunday, so bear with me a little bit. But we're going to start off with the Thursday night game between the Panthers and the Texans. This is one where Sam Darnold was more of a game manager in this one. Nothing spectacular there, but they did lose Christian McCaffrey to injury. So he's going to be out for a while. They're going to have Chuba Hubbard handling the load at running the ball for now. The fun fact was, though, that Robbie Anderson was AWOL in this game. Davis Mills for Houston, sacked 4 times, but he held his own as a backup quarterback. In this one, Carolina at 3-0. Yes, Carolina is a playoff contender at this point. Carolina is a good team. Matt Rule should be in the running for Coach of the Year. That's how I feel about Carolina. They are a playoff contender. IW, a playoff contender. After only 3 weeks. Buffalo destroys Washington 43-21. The Josh Allen from last year showed up in this game. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 358 passing yards. Zach Moss, Cole Beasley, 11 receptions, 98 receiving yards. Emmanuel Sanders, Stephen Diggs, all getting in on the action. Washington, who was a good defense last year, questions. Washington's defense has not been good this year. Taylor Heineke, serviceable. Antonio Gibson has not been good. And so I feel like Washington has fallen back to earth a bit this year. But maybe the football team can get a little break in the schedule. We'll see what the football team schedule looks like. Yes, they do get a little bit of a break in the schedule with the Falcons and the Saints. So maybe the Washington can rattle off a couple of wins. But the defense has regressed so far from last season, so that is an area of concern if you are the Washington football team. But Taylor Heineke is a good game manager, but he did throw 2 picks. That's bad. But 1 and 2, kind of where Washington should be at this point. All right, here's the game of criticism coming for Chicago. Cleveland beats Chicago 26-6. Baker was a good game manager. Chubb and Hunt were rolling. The Browns defense bullied Justin Fields all day. Odell Beckham made his presence felt. Myles Garrett, 4.5 sacks in this game. As for Chicago, this team, Cleveland 2-1. The Browns are likely going to be the contender coming out of the AFC North at this point. Chicago. Oh, poor Justin Fields, sacked 9 times. 6 for 20. David Montgomery could not help him. Simply, Justin Fields is not ready for the NFL at this point. And this is starting to look like a team where Matt Nagy is losing the locker room. I don't think Matt Nagy should have had a job after Sunday, to be honest. I think if Chicago loses to Detroit, which is very possible on Sunday, Chicago needs to get an interim head coach named quickly. I have no confidence in Matt Nagy getting Justin Fields developed. Trubisky, now Fields, Dalton, Glennon. How many more quarterbacks does Matt Nagy need? And Foles. But Ryan Pace should be gone. Ryan Pace should be fired at the end of the year. Matt Nagy should be fired now. You even see Nick Foles talking shit on. I even heard looks like Nick Foles and Andy Dalton were talking shit about Matt Nagy. That's not good. Nagy has lost the locker room. I don't think this team's good. Virginia McCaskey needs to go in and make a culture change in Chicago. Justin Fields should not play the rest of the season. But yeah, Justin Fields should not play the rest of the season. Maybe not start the rest of the season. Maybe you defer to Dalton and Foles for the rest of the year. If Dalton can't go, Nick Foles should start. End of story. This team needs to dump Matt Nagy, and now. This season is about to go off the rails for Chicago. And maybe look to become sellers at the trade deadline too while you're at it. Chicago is just a bad team. End of story. Ravens beat the Lions 19-17 on a 66-yard field goal by Justin Tucker. Give it to Detroit's defense. They made life hard for Lamar Jackson on Sunday. Sacked 4 times, gets a pick, 16 for 31. Latavius Murray and Lamar Jackson held in check running-wise. Detroit is scrappy. I think you do have to raise questions about Baltimore, though. I think Baltimore, yes, they're 2-1, but I do think maybe they're just a wild card team at this point. I don't think they're anything special. Detroit, they're 0-3, but they are a scrappy 0-3 team. I think they're going to get their first win next week. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But I do think Detroit's going to go to Chicago, and I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit pulls off a victory on Sunday in Chicago. Dan Campbell is a good coach. Goff has not been terrible in Detroit. So brighter days are ahead for Detroit coming. The Cardinals beat the Jaguars 31-19. Kyler, another 300 passing yard game. He did have a pick. But Arizona, for the most part, it's Kyler. Kyler has elevated his game so far this year. Unfortunately, they have not been able to muster a lot of run game. AJ Green and Christian Kirk have elevated their game this year for the Cardinals. Defense, question marks. The but is for the Cardinals, the schedule's about to get tougher. Sunday, they play the LA Rams. They play the 49ers after that. Arizona Cardinals' schedule is about to get tougher. Oh, yes, they get Rams. Cardinals get Rams, 49ers, and then the Browns. Yeah, schedule's about to get a lot tougher for the Cardinals. So we are going to find out a lot about this team in the next 3 weeks. Whether or not this 3-0 start is legitimate or if it's just against cupcake opponents. Jacksonville, this was probably Trevor Lawrence's best game in the NFL so far. 2 picks, 3 sacks, not good. 22 for 34, that's okay numbers passing-wise. James Robinson was able to run the ball. If Jacksonville wants to get any sort of wins, they need to rely more on running the ball and putting some of the weight off of Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. But I'm still not sold on Urban Meyer. I don't think he's the right coach for Trevor Lawrence. I think you need to bring in an actual NFL head coach at some point for Trevor Lawrence. The Los Angeles Chargers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 30-24. The Chargers are a legitimate playoff contender. This was Justin Herbert's best day so far this season. Eckler was able to run the ball effectively. Mike Williams went off. 2 touchdowns, 122 receiving yards. But Staley had a plan. Brandon Staley had a plan, and he was able to shut down Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, he is showing a bit of a regression this year. He threw 2 interceptions. Now, defenses are now starting to get better at scheming against Patrick Mahomes. And the Chiefs don't have a running back to help out Patrick Mahomes. Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a better day, 100 rushing yards. But still, Mahomes maybe tries to get too cute with the ball sometimes. And now the defenses are picking him off. Kansas City's defense, as I said last week, the Chiefs' defense is terrible. You know, the Chiefs won the maybe this is a Super Bowl hangover for the Chiefs, but it's not without the realm of possibility this year that the Chiefs miss the playoffs. The AFC West is very competitive this year. The Chargers look like a playoff contender. The Raiders look like a playoff contender. The Broncos look like a playoff contender. The Chiefs are in trouble. And I don't think this is an overreaction at week 3. That 1-2 start is very concerning if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. The Saints get a win over the New England Patriots 28-13. Jameis Winston got a fluky touchdown throw, so that was good. Alvin Kamara was able to run the ball effectively in this game. Winston was able to run the ball a bit. Taysom, a rushing touchdown, 6 carries, 32 rushing yards. But the Saints' defense is what, if the Saints have any hope of the playoffs this year, it's going to be through their defense. Their defense was good on Sunday. They were able to shut down Damian Harris, forcing Mac Jones to use his arm. Mac Jones rushed for 28 yards. Not exactly good news. But also, you don't want your rookie quarterback throwing 51 times a game. That is never a recipe for success. but the defense has to be better. And now you're going to get a pissed off Tom Brady coming to Foxborough on Sunday night. Saints, bubble. Patriots are a bubble team. Next, Falcons beat the Giants 17-14. This was probably Matt Ryan's best game of the season, 27 for 36. 2 touchdowns. Cordell Patterson had a great game in this one. But the Falcons' defense looked much better. But still, the Falcons are not a good team. As for New York, they choked. Daniel Jones was not terrible in this game either. 24 to 35, 266 passing yards. That's not terrible. But Galladay needs to wake up. But after this loss, Joe Judge is now on the hot seat in New York. This is a game the G-Men should have won. And the schedule doesn't get that much better for they get the Saints, the Cowboys, the Rams, the Panthers, the Chiefs, the Raiders. You could be easily staring at 0-9 in the next few weeks if you're the New York Giants. This team is primed to regress. So yes, Joe Judge at this point is on the hot seat. They got to find a way to get a win. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-10. Joe Burrow was great. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Joe Mixon, good. 18 carries for 90 yards. Jamar Chase, 2 touchdowns. Welcome to the NFL, Jamar Chase. You are a good wide receiver. This win, I think, cools Zach Taylor's seat a bit. The Bengals' defense showed up. Najee Harris was non-existent in the running game. But you cannot win if you're Pittsburgh with Big Ben throwing 58 times. 2 picks, 4 sacks. Roethlisberger looks like a quarterback that is washed. I don't know if you go to Mason Rudolph just yet, but that has to be in the back of your minds if you're Pittsburgh, is maybe making a change to Mason Rudolph. But this team is bad. The Steelers need to draft a quarterback this offseason. The Titans beat the Colts 25-16. Tannehill, not his best game, but Derrick Henry bailed him out. Tannehill rushed for 56 yards. Derrick Henry rushed for 113 yards. The Colts defense is bad at stopping the run. Carson Wentz, bad. Colts can't run the ball either. Bad. The Eberflus' defense looks terrible this year. They deserve to be 0-3. I think Frank Reich deserves to be on the hot seat at 0-3. That's right, you hear it here first. Frank Reich is on the hot seat. At 0-3, the Colts have to find a way to get a win. And now they get Miami, Baltimore, before, so they could easily be 0-5 before they get their first win. 0-5 is not beyond the realm of possibility for the Colts. If I'm Indy, you might need to give Cam Newton a call. Jacob Eason looks nowhere near ready. Sam Ehlinger still hurt. Too many questions. The Broncos dominated the Jets 26-0. Teddy B was a good game manager in this one. But that Denver defense is good. Alexander Johnson, 2 sacks. Broncos get 2 interceptions. Zach Wilson, the poor kid, is getting hit too much. At this point, it's not a matter of if, but when Zach Wilson gets hurt at this point. I am very concerned about Wilson getting hurt. That O-line is horrendous. They need to get a veteran. Zach Wilson should not be starting. I'm sorry. They need to bring in a veteran quarterback and have Wilson sit behind a veteran quarterback. Or they're going to be in big trouble once the inevitable does happen and Wilson gets hurt. I am very concerned. I don't want this on Robert Saleh, but they need to get the front office need. This is on Douglas. The Raiders beat the Dolphins in a 31-28 thriller. Derek Carr balling 26 for 43, 386 passing yards. Peyton Barber running at 111 rushing yards. Saying, Peyton Barber, great in the absence of Josh Jacobs. Jacoby Brissett, the Raiders defense laid an egg in this one. They made Brissett look decent in this one. Brissett had a rushing touchdown. But the Raiders did find a way to win. And you know what? 3-0, they are a contender. I dub the Raiders a playoff contender. Miami, always going to be scrappy with Brian Flores. But still going to be difficult with Jacoby being your quarterback for a while. The LA Rams beat the Tom Brady Buccaneers. Brady, 41 for 55. No running game. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette shut down. They made Mike Evans look mortal. And yes, the Buccaneers defense is bad. They're bad. The Rams are a very good team. Probably one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Matthew Stafford, 27 for 38, 343 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 134 passer rating. You get Stafford on a good team, great things happen. Sony Michel, decent running the ball. Deshaun Jackson was great in this game. Cooper Kupp, 2 touchdowns. Right now, the LA Rams are the team to beat in the NFC. Maybe in the NFL. Congratulations, Rams. You are a Super Bowl contender. Tampa, you are a fraud. Fail. The Minnesota Vikings beat the Seattle Seahawks 30-17. Kirk Cousins Kirk Cousins is carrying the Vikings this year. Another great performance by Kirk Cousins. Alexander Mattison ran all over the Seahawks defense. But Cousins is having a career year. The quarterback nobody's talking about so far. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Tyler Conklin, each with touchdowns in this one. The Vikings defense looked better in this one. Chris Carson looked decent. But the Seattle defense is horrendous. I think we are nearing the end of an era in Seattle. Seattle might be the worst team in the NFC West this year. The Legion of Boom is gone, Pete Carroll. Put it in your head. The Legion of Boom is gone. I think you might need to get draft capital for Russell Wilson. Seattle fans are going to crucify me for this, but I think it's time for Seattle to rebuild. I think it's time for Pete Carroll to retire. That NFC West is a gauntlet, and Seattle's O-line is terrible. They're the worst team in the NFC West. They get the Rams, the 49ers. They could easily be 1-4 in a couple weeks. Stick that in your pipe. Now on to the Sunday night game. The 49ers lose to the Packers 30-28. Jimmy G took 4 sacks, not good. He threw a pick, and he had a fumble. Question was in this game, other than that one play, why are you not using Trey Lance more? Secondary is terrible for the 49ers. They need to look at acquiring some secondary help at the trade deadline. Green Bay has recovered from a bad start to the season. Aaron Rodgers looks a lot more dialed in. Aaron Jones is great at running the ball. This is looking like the Green Bay Packers we've come to know the last few years. San Francisco is a good team, but they are not a great team. The defense needs help. The secondary needs to tackle. It might be time for John Lynch to get off the pot and acquire some secondary help. Or else they might be no more than a wild card team this year. Dallas spanks the Eagles last night, 41-21. Dak looks like a man on a mission despite being sacked 4 times. 3 touchdowns, 143.3 passer rating. Zeke looked great. 2 touchdowns, 95 rushing yards. Dallas's defense looks much better. Dan Quinn's scheme has looked great. Jalen Hurts had his first real bad game in the NFL. I don't think Philadelphia is that bad this year. They just played a really good Dallas team. Dallas, IW, a playoff contender. Philly, fail. But I do think Philly is going to rattle off more wins later this year. So that's where I'm at. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you saw, give this channel a big like, and please be kind and hit that subscribe button. I'll be back later tonight to preview college football. Good night. Have a good day.